Welcome to Linden Capital Advisors, where financial freedom is just around the corner. On today's agenda, we'll be taking a look at the estate planning recommendations for Mark and Debbie Brown, and this includes their 4 retirement planning recommendations. Our first recommendation is for them to assign beneficiaries to all available accounts and policies. So here we have a table of their recommended beneficiary designations. Included in this table are Mark's life insurance, their joint checking account, their joint savings account, and their joint brokerage account. These are all accounts that they can assign beneficiaries to, and for Mark's life insurance, we recommend Debbie Brown as primary beneficiary, and then Chris Brown and Sarah Green as contingent beneficiaries. For their joint accounts, what we recommend is Chris Brown as POD and Sarah Green as POD, and that's for their joint checking and savings accounts. And then their joint brokerage account, we recommend Chris Brown as TOD and Sarah Green as TOD. Continuing with the same recommendation and the same table, we're now looking at Debbie's inherited IRA, Mark's 403B plan, Mark's Roth 457 plan, and Mark's ORP. So with Debbie's inherited IRA, what we recommend is assigning Mark Brown as primary beneficiary, and then Chris Brown and Sarah Green as contingent beneficiaries. And then for Mark's 403B plan, his Roth 457 plan, and his ORP, what we recommend is Debbie Brown as primary beneficiary, and then Chris Brown and Sarah Green as contingent beneficiaries. Our second recommendation is to update all of their relevant estate planning documents. And this includes their wills, their power of attorney for healthcare, and their power of attorney for financial decisions. They mentioned that it's been quite a while since they've updated their will, so that's one of the things that they'll want to update right away. They'll also want to establish power of attorney for healthcare and power of attorney for financial decisions. We know that if one of them were to become incapacitated, it'd be vital that they have the correct powers and abilities to make decisions for the other. And we've seen a number of times where if these planning documents aren't in place, where one of the spouses unfortunately just doesn't have the ability to take care of the other and also all of the financial decisions. So in cases where they need to manage accounts or access accounts, or where they need to make financial transactions on behalf of the other spouse, or even if they need to buy and sell real estate, for example, with the vacation condo. For these reasons, they would want to make sure and update all of these estate planning documents. Our third recommendation for them is to consider establishing a revocable living trust and an irrevocable trust. One of the advantages of a revocable living trust is that they're able to make changes to it during their lifetime. And one of the advantages of an irrevocable living trust is that it remains intact throughout their lifetime. It also has the advantage that it can be excluded from their estate. And looking at this chart here where we have their projected estate growth in 10 years and 20 years, we're looking at potential amounts of $5,032,000 and $6,267,000. So we want to make sure that they can transfer these assets to their heirs and avoid probate. So that's one of the great things about establishing trust accounts, is that they would be able to avoid the probate process. And one additional note here is that when it comes to designating beneficiaries, sometimes when you designate a minor as a beneficiary on an account or a policy, it may complicate the transfer of those assets. So a good way to do things is to establish a trust and then list your children as the trustees on the account, and then your grandchildren as trustee beneficiaries. Our fourth recommendation for them is to consider establishing UTMA or UGMA accounts for Kason and Noah Brown, as well as a charitable remainder trust. We know that a couple of their planning priorities are donating to charity and contributing funds to their grandchildren's education accounts. So with this in mind, a charitable remainder trust is a great way to donate money to a charity of your choice, and you can also receive income from it throughout your retirement. And then establishing UTMA or UGMA accounts is a good way to pass money on to your grandchildren and also give them the flexibility to use those funds at their discretion when they become the age of majority. So if their intention is to donate funds to their grandchildren specifically for education, then the recommendation would be to continue using the 529 plans already established. However, if they're willing to give them a little bit more liberty with those funds when they turn the age of majority, then UTMA or an UGMA account might be a good option for them. This chart here shows their estate plan projected in 2058, so that's at the end of Debbie's life expectancy. So we see estate value of $6,055,000, and this is what we want to make sure we can transfer both efficiently and effectively to their heirs. Ultimately, our goal is to help the Brown family enjoy retirement by implementing a solid estate plan.